Hello, and welcome to Everything Isaiah, where we'll have a verse-by-verse conversation about Isaiah's prophecy. My name is Paul, and I'm here today with my co-host, Isaiah.
Shalom, my friends. I'm happy to be here.
I'm really excited to see what you have in store for us today. Where are we today?
Well, you can see that we are in an artist's workshop. This is a special workshop where they sculpt things. What is it that the artists here are sculpting?
Well, it looks like people. Wait, are we talking about people today?
We are, in a sense. We are talking about bodies. That is why I brought a friend today. You probably recognize him.
Well, of course I do. Everyone knows Mr. Potato Head.
Well, hello, I do look like him, don't I? I must have spectacular genes.
Wait, you're not Mr. Potato Head?
Actually, I'm Yukon. Yukon Potato Head, at your service. Mr. Potato Head is my dad, but you could say I'm a chip off the old potato. My dad's getting pretty old, though. You can see he's starting to sprout.
And feeling it in my tubers every day. I'm not that young spurt I used to be. All these young tots are fast food if you just ask me. Not like what I'm used to.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize that there were more than just Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head.
There's a whole sack of us potato heads. We're a unique family. Would you like to meet some of the bushel?
We sure would.
Spectacular! Let me first introduce you to my sweet tater, Jewel.
Oh my! I'm more excited than a tater tot on taco night to meet you. I'm just all fritters.
She's so appealing, isn't she? And these are my tater tots, Butterball.
I'm only here because I have to be.
He never beats around the bush. And Norland,
Yo, sup, home fry?
he's a special tater. And, of course, Desiree.
And then he was like, bruh. And I was like, seriously? And he was like, yeah, crisp, right? Tate is so riz.
Desiree, are you gonna say hello?
Dad, I'm on the phone. Anyways, did you see my pics? My nails are so sick. I just love the color. You should seriously let them broil you. It'll make your skin look so good. Oh,
Sometimes she's such a sweet potato. But lately, it's like talking to a hash brown, if you know what I mean. This is my brother, Russet. He goes by Russ.
Enough with the introductions. You trying to butter us all up? Let's get going already. Let's get to the meat and potatoes.
Oh, sorry. He's a hot potato. Then there's my nephew Kerr, our local couch potato. Bliss here, who is a meditator. And Beauregard is an engineer. He's kind of a square root. Here's my cousin Constable Blue. He's with the Potato Patrol.
Top of the morning, sirs. It's a chip-chipper day today, isn't it?
And Hughes Crescent. He's a tater tracker. Always hiking the trails up in those Austrian mountains.
Hello, Servus. My name is Crescent Kartoffelkop, and I am happy to make this video with you, yeah?
And this is Bint J from India. He's a twice removed tater.
Hello, beautiful souls. Myself, Bint J Potato Head. I belong to Delhi. I'm grateful for my cousin brother to invite me. I have not seen you since 2 years. It was wonderful for you to comment to me. I am pleasured to meet you.
And of course, Uncle Kennebec and Vitello.
That is this place. This is such cramped. I feel I am not comfortable.
Yeah, he's much crowded to me, huh? These cousins are not to be trusted, yeah?
Sorry, we don't have them around often. They're kind of rotten potatoes.
Wow, there are a ton of you.
Well, that's quite a bushel. Our other cousins would have come, but there was a traffic jam. Apparently someone peeled out.
Yukon and his family are here to help us in our discussion today.
Excellent. Today we're talking about Isaiah chapter 1 verse 5. I'll read when you're ready.
Ooh, let's do it. I'm more excited than when I was introduced to cheese and bacon.
Oh, in not as many words. I am ready too.
Wherefore will you continually be beaten? You will further add offense. The whole head is sick and the whole heart ill. You know, this first part was a little challenging for me to translate.
Oh, why would that be?
I think it was one of those instances where the English translation just doesn't accurately reflect the Hebrew. The words weren't hard to figure out, it was just a little messy to get them all to make sense.
Tell me more.
Okay, here are some different translations of this passage. We just read my translation. The first part of this verse is an easy part. It's straightforward. Why are they allowing themselves to be beaten? That's essentially the question, right? The word here is od, which means continually or more and more. You can see it in all these other cases. It's like they're inviting this beating, allowing it through their own actions.
That is true enough. They do invite it. It is like they cannot help themselves.
Yeah, that's what I realized as I further analyzed the translations. It's the second part that was slightly tricky for me. In the King James Version and the English Standard Version, it looks like revolt is a verb, but in Hebrew it is not. In fact, in Hebrew, there are only 2 words in this passage. Tosifu, which literally means you will add or increase, and sarah, which means offense or violation or a turning away. This is why I translated it as you will further add offense.
That is very well done. What I intended to say is that Israel continues to be beaten up throughout history because they continue to rebel from Jehovah.
That makes me so angry. I'm hot as a hash brown and burnt to a crisp.
What do you mean when you say they keep getting beat up? You know, it almost sounds like someone's getting beat up by the school bully.
That is an interesting analogy.
I don't like butt bashers. Waste of a wedge, if you ask me.
Sometimes kids get into fights at school, and we usually root for the little kid. But what if the little kid was the bully?
Maybe the other spuds deserved it. Bunch of soggy fries.
Wait a minute. Are you saying that Israel is picking the fights? I thought you said they were getting beat up.
Butterball, have you been beating up some buds? Mashing some taters? Ha! Taking after your old Uncle Russ, aren't you?
Remember in the previous verse we studied last time, Israel was called evildoers and corruptors. I was talking about Jehovah's covenant people, not someone else. And because of their rebellious behavior, Jehovah has to chasten them, but they still do not listen.
Okay, then if we continue our analogy, it's like if they go to the principal's office, they just fight with the principal.
Butterball, this is the 4th time you've been in a match this week. You're acting like a twice-baked potato.
Hey, I'm not some cornstalk with ears. I don't have to listen to you.
Jehovah loves his people. But if they rebel against him, Jehovah allows them to suffer the consequences of their decisions.
If we come back to the verse, you are really saying, why do you keep rebelling against God? You're just piling up punishments.
I suppose that is one way that you could put it. But see the poetic pentameter here? Continually links with further add, meaning that it is not a one-time incident. They intentionally do it. Then beaten and offense are linked. This is a cause and effect link. Because they add offense, they are punished.
Wow, I'm glad you helped me understand that better.
The other portion we need to discuss is the second half of the verse. The whole head is sick, and the whole heart ill.
Okay, but wait. We have a lot of potato heads here. Whose head and heart are you talking about?
Hello, beautiful souls. Did I miss something? My business partner was eating my brain. He did not know I was at the station, so I had to revert my email.
That is why we need to discuss this. There are many things going on here. The first thing is something we have talked about before. Symbolism.
So you're saying that the head and heart are symbolic?
Absolutely. You are catching on. But let's talk about your first question. Whose head and heart was I talking about? Let me ask you a question. In all we have studied so far, who have we been talking about?
Well, we've been talking about the house of Israel. They rebelled. They were evildoers. They were the ones who forsook their God.
Correct. and they are the ones who are continuing to add offense.
It's clear you're talking about the head and heart of Israel.
Oh, that was not hard, was it? Did you know you used one of the strategies that we have learned to identify the meaning of this symbol?
Wow, that's right. I didn't even realize it. I used the poetic pentameter to link together the possible meaning of head and heart.
Oh, that looks messy. You must clean that up. My work would never look this way.
Oh, sometimes getting to the root of my writings can be messy. Imagine trying to write it. Using this tool, you linked Israel to the head and heart, and their rebellion to their illness. You used poetic pentameter to understand some of the symbols. What are some of the other symbols that you can use that we have learned so far?
Numbers and lists? Now you're talking my language. I'll give you my thoughts on the matter.
Well, another one is historical precedent, but that doesn't seem to apply here.
No, it does not, does it?
There's also chiasmus. That's one of my favorites. It's very similar to poetic pentameter.
They are similar, but they are also very different.
And another tool is to look at the Hebrew.
I really love digging into the etymology of those words. Like finding golden tubers everywhere.
Oh, that is pretty nerdy.
Thank you.
You cannot always rely upon the English translation. You talked about that one earlier.
What else? I guess there was making sure you don't take things out of context. You can't just quote something without context because you may misinterpret what is said. That one may apply here too.
Yes, indeed. And I'm going to teach you another tool.
Oh, great! I love knowing more ways to study your words.
And there is another way that I embed symbolic meaning in my writings. Do you remember in the second video you talked about how chiasmus works?
Oh, I love movies, man. Where's the popcorn?
I said anciently we did not write linearly, but concentrically.
Yes, I said that is why sometimes it's hard to understand what you wrote.
This tool is similar in idea to that. Throughout my book, I use specific words that carry specific meaning. These words are symbolic, but in order to find the symbolism, you have to know my entire prophecy. I did not intend for it to be easy. I wanted you to study out what the meaning could be. You have to remember Jehovah commissioned me to send a message thousands of years through time to you. I had to be creative in how I embedded meaning that you could discover. I had to encode it in a way that you would be able to understand it almost 2,800 years later. If head was symbolic and I wanted to define what it meant, then I would say what it meant in one of the times that I used that word in my book. Then when you saw other instances of that word, you would know what it already meant or could mean.
You're saying you link the words together symbolically, like a chain.
Yes, that is correct. But unlike the poetic pentameter, these words are spread throughout the book.
So you have to go and hunt them down. Ha! That sounds like a Where's Waldo puzzle, with a different twist.
Where is whom? What are you talking about? That does not look like me.
Ha! Never mind, you wouldn't understand it. I think what you're saying, though, is that you sometimes define a word symbolically in your book, and then you have this word interspersed throughout your book. It's like a huge connect-the-dot picture. I like to call this tool word links.
Ah, you do know what I'm talking about.
Oh, absolutely. I've done a ton of work on this subject.
Really? Tell me what you have learned.
I learned early on that you linked words throughout your book like that. At first, I would look at the English word and link them all together, creating a symbolic meaning and narrative of what you may have meant. But then I realized that you wrote your book in Hebrew, not in English, so I could not link the English word unless I knew they came from the same Hebrew origin, like the word wine in English in this example.
Did someone say wine?
That is right. Remember, we did say you cannot rely solely on the English translation if you want to know what I was really saying.
I taught, therefore I am.
I found some websites or books that listed word links, but they were all based out of English. I looked everywhere for a book that would parse them out in their Hebrew words, but I couldn't find any. So for the next 10 years, I wrote my own book.
You did? That is amazing. I love the dedication you have to understanding my writings.
Well, it was a lot of work. My book is called the Isaiah Wordling Concordance. I know, it's not a fancy name, but it takes every verse out of your book and separates them into different words based on the Hebrew root words. Then you can be sure that you are linking words that were originally used by you in Hebrew.
That seems complicated. Can you give me an example?
Sure, I'd love to. It may seem complicated, but it's actually quite easy. I've done most of the hard work already for you. All you have to do is take my book and find a word you're wanting to investigate to see if it has links. Let's take a look at the word wine. The first thing you notice is that there are 6 different Hebrew words for the English word wine. That tells me that I cannot link them all in English. They were of different Hebrew words. But then I could take the Hebrew word and link all of those. For example, tirosh means new wine. If I look at the verses listed under that Hebrew word, I can easily reference all 4 occurrences to see if they had any symbolic linking to create a symbolic meaning.
Well, that is a lot of work. I am speechless. Or at least I would be if I would stop talking. Thank you for helping all of these people study my writings deeper. This could be a very useful tool. Can you use that tool in our discussion today about head and heart?
Oh yes, absolutely. I don't have every word that you used in there, but I do have over 1,500 English words in there. Head and heart are among them. Let's open the book and look at head. It looks like there are a lot of uses of this word throughout your book. You use 2 Hebrew words that are translated into English as head. One Hebrew word is only used once. The other word is used 26 times.
Correct. And not all of them are symbolic. But sometimes it is.
It looks like the word we want is rosh. Okay, let's see here. In chapter 9, verses 14 through 15, it looks like you define the word head. Therefore, the Lord will cut off from Israel head and tail, branch and rush in one day. The ancient and the honorable, he is the head, and the prophet that teaches lies, he is the tail. Wait, a body that has a tail?
Reminds me of Pin the Tuber on the donkey, doesn't it?
That does not mean it really has a tail. It means the end part of something. So what does the head mean?
In this scripture we just read, it means the ancient and honorable. Who are they? The old people?
What? Huh? Speak up, young spud. Who are you calling old? I may not be the spring potato I once was, but I'm not mashed yet. I got all my eyes on you.
Oh, not necessarily. If you look at the Hebrew, there is a clue. Zaken is translated as ancient, and it literally does mean old, but it can also be translated as elder. This is the word I often use to describe the elders of Israel, or the chief people in my day, and the leaders of your churches too.
Brothers and sisters, let me tell you what I want you to think God says. We don't want to get off on the wrong batch.
Oh my, that is how they were in my day too. And this word Nassau means those who have been lifted up. It really means those who are elite or considered honorable in your society.
So you're basically saying our civic leaders and elite people, like entertainers, actors, scholars, athletes, bankers, the wealthy, politicians.
I'll tell you anything you want to hear if you'll just vote for me. It's just 3 letters. V-O-T-E. Come on, I'm your man.
Correct. Think of it this way. If you look at the entire body, what part of the body governs the rest of the body?
Well, it's the head. If you turn your head right or left, your whole body often turns that way too. Plus, that's where your brain is. That makes everything else operate.
And if the whole head is sick, what does that tell you?
Oh my. When you put it together like that, that means that all our leaders are sick.
And I do not mean that they are literally sick, but symbolically. In other words, they are corrupt.
So what about the heart?
Just like the head, the heart has a symbol too. The way we consider the heart is different than how you think of it. Your culture thinks of the heart as a place of feeling. In ancient Israel, the heart was the center of knowledge. That is where we held our beliefs and revelations. It represented the spiritual well-being of a person or nation.
Our head, those who lead us and our governing bodies, are sick or rebellious. Our heart, our spiritual state of being as a people and individually, is ill. That does not sound good.
Oh, it definitely is not good. It is a tragedy. But just like ancient Israel, you continue to persist in your rebellion, and your body gets more and more sick.
You know what? That reminds me of the body of Christ that we read about in the New Testament.
Indeed it does. And do you know who is the best to help us understand that?
Who is that?
Paul.
Me?
Oh, no, not you. The Apostle Paul.
Hello, friends. Grace be unto you and peace from God our Father and from our Lord Jesus Christ.
Shalom, Paul. We were just talking about the body of Jehovah. Can you help us understand that idea?
Absolutely. You know, I mentioned that when I sent a letter to my friends in Corinth. When we are baptized...
Tater ball!
Oh, you got me all wet. Like I was saying, when we are baptized into one body, which we call the body of Christ. God gives us each spiritual gifts, but not everyone is given the same gift of the Spirit. Some receive the word of wisdom or knowledge. Others have the gift of faith or healing. Some prophesy or discern spirits. But in the end, it doesn't matter what spiritual gifts we have because we are all one body. Symbolically, some may be the hand or foot, others may be the head. Even though there are many members, they are all integrated into one. The foot, hand, eye, or head could not say they don't need any other part of the body.
And what happens if the head and heart of the body of Jehovah is sick?
Oh, then the whole body is sick and everyone suffers.
Oh, I feel mashed. I wonder if I'm blind or potato rot or something else. Oh,
that is awful. Thank you, Paul, for helping us understand this topic.
Again, anytime. And peace be unto you, my brothers.
Did you know that I created symbolism throughout my book using different body parts?
Oh, yes. I made a list of them, and there are quite a few. Just in the head alone are several symbolic parts.
And what are those?
Well, for starters, there's the eyes, ears, and mouth.
And what do you think those mean?
Based on the research and word links I've done in your book, I believe the mouth is a symbol of a messenger of God. It's a prophetic messenger. Unless it comes from a false prophet, then the mouth represents the false and blasphemous messages or messengers. The ear symbolizes our reception of revelation or prophecy given from the Lord, whether that's by His own voice or by a righteous servant. And then the eyes represent our intuition, knowledge, or revelation.
What you are saying makes perfect sense. When Jehovah called me to preach His word, He said, "Make the heart of the people fat, and make their ears heavy, and shut their eyes, lest they see with their eyes, and hear with their ears, and understand with their heart, and convert and be healed." Take what you have learned about symbolism of the eyes, ears, and mouth, and apply that to what it means if the head is sick.
Well, if the head is sick, you will usually have sore eyes, stuffy ears, and a scratchy throat. Is that what you're asking?
Not necessarily. If the head represents your leaders, particularly your spiritual leaders, and the head is symbolically sick, meaning corrupt, then the eyes, ears, and mouth are also corrupt. So if we apply the symbolism, that means that the visions that are seen with the eyes, the revelation that is heard with the ears, and the words that come out of the mouths of the spiritual leaders are corrupted.
What? That is astonishing.
Let me show you what Jehovah showed me. You read earlier that the head is the ancient and honorable, and the tail is the prophet that teaches lies. If we continue reading in verse 16, Jehovah said to me, the leaders of the people caused them to err. He continued to say that everyone who spoke with the mouth, that symbolizes those who speak for Jehovah, were hypocrites and evildoers. They speak folly. These people do not truly speak the words of Jehovah. It is like they have sore throats. Let's look at another verse. Jehovah told me to write down that this is a rebellious people, children who would not hear the law of Jehovah. Now, children here should be translated as sons. I was talking about covenant sons. They say to their prophets and seers, see not and prophesy not the right things. They don't want to hear their awful condition. These people and their leaders do not want to hear the voice of Jehovah. Their ears are stuffed up. They say, tell us smooth things, things that make us feel comfortable. They want to hear all is well in Zion. Here is another verse. Jehovah showed me that the watchmen of Israel, his covenant leaders, are blind. They are all ignorant. He also showed me that their eyes are closed. The eyes of the prophets and seers and rulers have been covered. These people cannot see the work of Jehovah. Their eyes are all blind.
Can someone point me toward the lost sheep? Sisters and brothers, follow me. I know the way. God would not let me lead you the wrong way. I can see clearly.
That is intense. So when the head is sick, that means the ears, eyes, and mouth are sick as well. Symbolically, it's like they don't want to see, hear, or speak the truth, or they just can't.
Who's speaking? Where are you? Let me see you. I can see everything, just not finding
I'm sorry,
you
what did you say?
For some reason.
Speak up. I can't quite hear you. I'd hear a lot clearer if you take these fingers out of my ears.
So that also means that the visions, revelations, and words that we hear from our leaders are contaminated.
It means they are false, either half-truths or outright lies.
And when the heart is sick, that means that the people are spiritually sick too. It represents our spiritual state of being. It's like our hearts are contaminated.
That is correct. It means your hearts are not aligned with Jehovah. Keep in mind we are talking about the body of Jehovah. That means your churches and your nation are sick. But remember, we also said in a previous video that one ass and one bull knew its master, while Israel as a whole did not. That means some individuals, both kosher and not kosher, one covenant and one non-covenant, are healthy and well. They know Jehovah. They have not forsaken him. But it also means that your nation and your churches, all of them, are sick.
Oh no! What do we do about that? How can we get better?
Oh, do not worry, Paul. Remember, my book is about hope. It is a revelation that shows you how to come to Jehovah. But it is also a prophecy about the current state of affairs of your people and churches. The first few chapters may seem gloomy, but they are setting a stage of your spiritual state as a people. Next time we will talk about how to be healed.
Well then, I'm certainly looking forward to that discussion. I guess that brings us to the end of our verse and the end of this video. If you enjoyed talking with me and Isaiah, like this video and subscribe for future conversations. Thanks for all your help today, Isaiah.
You are most welcome. If any of you are feeling uncomfortable with these conversations, that probably means that there is something you need to change.
I know that was the case for me.
That is the case for all of us at one point or another. Perhaps your head is sick and your heart is ill. Please come to Jehovah and be reconciled. You are special and you are amazing.
And I want to give a big thanks to the Potato Head family for helping us out with this discussion.
Hey, we had fun. We'd love to chip in anytime. Say goodbye, everybody.
Yo, catch you on the flip side, home fry.
Wait, where are we again? Did I get my roots all tangled up again?
Finally, we're done.
Rocket, man.
Big good
Taters gotta
potatoes
tate
and-
together.
Well, good morning, all.
Thank you
Thanks
very
for digging
much.
in the mud with
It'll
me.
be a long time to see you
Pip,
again.
eh? Keep in
Stay
touch now,
golden,
won't
yar.
you? Cheerio.
Did he really say that? I love the French, but sometimes those guys are so greasy. I can't believe he said that to you. I think my hair's awful. It's full of sprouts. I should cut it all off. No way. Your hair is so cute. Wait, people are staring at me. What? I'm on the phone. Do you mind? Oh, are we ready to start? Hey, Hannah, I gotta go. I think they're ready to start now.
Okay then. Well, I guess we'll see you all next time.
Wait, are we done? Did I miss something? Does my hair look okay? I don't have any sprouts, do I?